Hi everybody, here I am back in the garage and bringing you a handful of sessions over the last couple of weeks where I've been making some pretty good progression. At the beginning here, I'm trying to nollie pivot into a crooked grind, a switch crooked grind. And it was weird and it took a while to get used to. I sort of got it, but it was fun just to try. And that's kind of the point of this video. Why is it that lately, in the past couple of weeks, playing around on my garage box and doing just some stuff that is kind of low-key, but also really fun, why is that helping me make progress? I've been learning new tricks on almost a regular basis these days, at least something new maybe on the box or in a different situation. But here, it only took me a day to finally get that nollie pivot into a switch crooked grind. It's not great, but it's really good for me because it was something new that I was trying to do and I was able to get it. And here, I think this is another session. I'm going to switch crooked grinds again, but this time I'm finally starting to try to do more out of it. And so all of these new things that I've been doing, I think has been contributing to my learning and learning new things just because I'm trying a lot of new stuff and I'm getting out of kind of a rut, I guess, where I always do kind of the same things over and over again. It feels really good to break into something new, try to force myself into a different sort of mode. I'm trying different grinds that I've never tried before, different angles, different movements, and small successes in those areas just sort of build on each other because it feels so good to try something new and then get a little bit of success at it. And then you build on that and it gets better and better and it just keeps building and you keep learning more and more. So here I am again on the other side, my regular crook side, and that was another crook with a shove out, which I'm really liking. That's becoming something that I really want to do, not just here in the garage, but in other places. And the goal of this day on the box was to try from nollie to go into back tail. And I had some really good early luck there where I kind of got one. It was a little shaky, but it was a really good start. And like I said, any level of success when you're trying something new just feeds and makes you like want it more and want to go do it more and get better at it. And then you actually do, and it just keeps building. And yeah, while I was trying these, I had some slip outs and some falls, but nothing serious, mostly just kind of slipping out and ending up kind of on my butt a little bit. So it's still a grind that I want to keep learning and pursuing. I guess it's a slide, not a grind, but something I want to keep pursuing in the future. And here I was trying to do it and then get out to regular because it's really easy to pivot right through it. Well, it's not easy, but your body naturally wants to go that way. And so to go into back tail and then come out forward again, come out regular is really challenging. But again, it was a really good session of learning something new, getting some success, and having a lot of fun. And as I'm starting to watch all these clips back, I really am starting to see it in my own writing. The second thing that I think is really contributing to my growth lately and my progression is that I'm spending a lot of time on the skateboard. I'm sure you've heard that before where people say if you want to get better at tricks and you want to get better at skateboarding, you just need to spend time. You need to spend time on the board. Well, I think that's absolutely true. The more time you spend on the board, the more comfortable you become and the more natural you become. The more it becomes instinct to do certain things on the board, like fight for a landing, stay stable, and keep your balance. And there's all these things that develop by just spending more time on the skateboard. And you'll see that even more in another session pretty soon. So now we're going to another one. I'm back to regular crooks, and I've wanted to get out regular instead of the pivot that I always do. There was another shove out. But I ended up with some other weird things here. That's actually a nose grind, and I kind of came out without a pivot, even though I tapped and it was kind of awkward, but I will take that while I can get it. Backside 50-50 there. This day I was trying to get a little bit of variety in what I was doing. And then for whatever reason, I decided I was going to go for fakie frontside 50-50. I have done this before, but very, very little. And so today I wanted to develop it a little bit more. Again, those new things and trying them and getting some success on them have become kind of addicting. I want to try all this new stuff, and I want to keep getting better at it. And this one here is a little bit special. This right here tells me that fakie into switch 5-0 maybe could be something I could develop in the future. And that's actually kind of awesome. But what I wanted today was I was getting up there from fakie pretty well. And then I was thinking, how am I going to get out of this grind? And something that sort of comes natural to me from a fakie position is a fakie frontside 180. So I wanted to get that as a way out of this grind. And I kind of got one there. It was a little sketchy. It wasn't great. That one was also sketchy. So I kept fighting for one that I was happy with. That's the one I'm going to keep. That's the keeper. Okay, now let's jump to the next session. I went to Woodward Copper to get to a skate park, and I wanted to use this ledge that I've used before. It's slightly higher than my little box at home, maybe by about 2 inches. So it's a really, really good test for me to see if I can take the things I'm learning on my box in the garage and take them to a new spot. For me, that's sort of the ultimate test of knowing if I'm actually getting better at a trick or not. Can I take it to a different park on a different obstacle? Maybe it's higher, maybe it's got, it's more slippery, less slippery, more sticky. But if I can use it in a different scenario, then that means I really am learning it well. And here is the weirdest nose grind you've ever seen. I don't know how I ended up riding out of that, but I did. And here I have a little accident. The board gives me a little love tap right there, but it could have been a lot worse. And yes, there are times where I get frustrated. It took a lot of tries. I still wasn't getting that shove out. I had to take out my own camera. But finally, after some perseverance, I was finally rewarded with this. A nice, smooth, solid crook with a shove out. So the next thing on the list was to try it going the other way. So now we need to try switch crook. And that was actually my first try. And I was really happy that I actually did commit some weight to my right foot. There I accidentally went into nose slide. So we take those, we take switch nose. But after some experimenting with the speed and the angle and everything, finally locked in crook. I have to still do that pivot, but I don't care because I'm doing a switch crook and I'm pretty excited about that. Let's go. And I kept going after this one. I wanted to get some more switch crooks, and then I wanted to try to shove out, but I never actually did get the shove out for whatever reason. I had some close ones. In that previous one, I had some weird, like, one-footed nose grinds. Those are complete accidents. But I did eventually get more comfortable with just the switch crook itself. I ended up landing maybe 4 of them. So I'm still pretty pleased with that, especially, like I said, this is a different ledge than what I'm used to, slightly higher. And so it's good to know that I can do that trick in a different spot. And then before I left, I went back to this good old rail where I like to do front boards. And I got front board to fakie without much trouble. And I wanted to improve my front board to regular because I'm not as good at doing it that way. But I finally did fight for a few that were halfway decent. And then I felt like from there, being comfortable, I wanted to do something I do on the snow skate kind of a lot, which is front board with a shove off the rail. And I have done this once or twice before, but not very much. Obviously, I was so excited to get this one. It had been a bit of a battle, and it was right before I needed to go. So I only had like this one more try, and I finally got one. This is the best quarter pipe ever built. It's tiny, it's super fun. Okay, so the last session, I'm at Federal Heights Skate Park, also known as Zuni Skate Park in the Denver area. And I love this quarter pipe. It's really small. It has the right radius to it, the right curvature. It is so much fun. And it's so fun to try new things on this one because there's no fear. I don't have to worry about slipping out or falling. And if I do, I don't fall far. So I've come back here a number of times to try new things. And on this day, I learned a whole bunch of new stuff in transition. And I haven't skated transition in a while, so I was super pleased. Right there, coming back in fakie from a fakie axle stall, that was new. And I'm just continuing the line here, just riding because it's so much fun. fakie axle stall back to regular. And the next is, let's see, that was just rock and roll. And then another new one for the day was fakie frontside 5-0 stall. And so here comes another one because I was really proud of being able to get this pretty quickly. So I got another one of those. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing, but the other way. So I pivoted the other direction for what I think is a backside 5-0. So really having fun on the transition today, already picking up some new tricks. I said I would talk about this in a later part of the video, and this was the session where I really realized how much more comfortable I am on my skateboard. I was learning so many new things on the board in this session. That's another new one, fakie backside 50-50. And because of my comfort on the skateboard and just feeling good on it and being able to respond to it, ride it well in very basic ways, I'm able to do so much more. And here comes another new one, backside Smith. And I'm continuing that line some more, setting myself up, because if I got backside Smith, I might as well try for front Smith. It's a little shaky, and I have done that one in the past, but it was good to get both of those. And then I realized if I got Smith grinds, we need to try the feeble grinds. So here's backside feeble. Yeah, I'm just kind of standing up there on the deck, but I haven't played with feebles much at all. And there was front feeble as well. And if that weren't enough, I come into a fakie feeble of some sort. That was really interesting, but I'm really glad I rolled away with that one. That was pretty cool. And then continuing on this line, I come in with a frontside 5-0, which is really another interesting one for me. I might have done that in the past, but I can't actually remember. And then, like I said before, having success at new things gets really addicting. And I was like, I wonder if I can get my front truck on there. I'm doing all this work pivoting over my right foot. What if I do stuff on my left foot? And I thought, since I love crooked grinds now, what if I tried to lock into coping with a crooked grind? That'd be weird, right? And I had some slip outs and some falls, and I had to experiment because this was a really different sensation than getting the back truck to lock in. But eventually I got a little closer. And then when I finally got to where I got one where I kind of stayed in balance, trying to drop back in was a whole nother story. I've never done switch drop in. So now coming from my left foot and trying to drop in took some practice. So I finally got one there. It was a little shaky. I wanted to get one more. And so now another new one, and a new one that I just love because I'm in love with crooked grinds right now, is a crooked stall back to fakie in transition. And it felt so good to be finally getting this that I had to get it a couple of times. And then as I started doing it a few more times, I was like, wait, maybe I'll come in at a little bit more of an angle and actually turn it into a grind, get some actual grind across the coping there. And that started to happen as well. And as if that weren't enough, I come over to another piece of transition in a different section of the park where the transition's a little bit taller and a tiny bit steeper. But I was like, if I can do it over here, then I know I've really got it. And it only took 2 tries to lock into that crooked grind on this piece of coping. And so in case you missed it, get out there on your skateboard, spend tons of time on your skateboard, and try all sorts of new things. You never know when you're going to stumble across something that you just absolutely fall in love with. And being successful at those new things is really addicting, and it'll keep you going. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.